Oh, sorry. I think my mic was doing something bad there. It was really loud for a second. I hope it's okay.
何の用だ俺に話とは
Did I miss something? Emily Staval, there we go.
何でもやります。仕事をください。
良い心がけだ。少し大人になったみたいだな。
I hope there was like no loud noise or something. I might have to edit that out. If it's really loud, I'll have to check. We're at an hour 3 minutes.
だから、力を貸してください。
具体的に言ってみろ。
もし、妹に万が一のことが起こったときは、助けてください。
約束しよう。お前が俺の仕事を続けている限り報奨しよ
う。At that, I nodded vigorously. The winter sky was colored a pale blue. The wind was strong and carried the clouds past frighteningly quickly. This was the only way. I told myself repeatedly. I made him promise not to tell anyone. Jing and Sakura would have stopped me if they'd known. I didn't want to do it either. I was worried. I'd never held a regular job. I was introverted, gloomy, and awkward. I knew it. But there was no other way. Whatever you say, girl. At this
う。俺
point,
の店だ。ここで働いてもらう。
at this point, I give up trying to think like Kana. We're just never gonna see eye to eye. He took me to a poorly lit location. I could see a lot of women and smelt the distinct sense of tobacco and alcohol.
ここはいわゆるキャーバレー、フィリピンパブと呼ばれる。
I didn't really understand what that meant. The women, the hostesses, spent time with the men and poured their drinks as far as I knew. Looking at them, I knew they were not Japanese. I heard Chinese and other languages I couldn't understand.
かな、お前は日本人で若い。稼ぐのも楽だろ。
稼ぐって。
ここはシミのがお前の売り上げになる。乗客にこびることだな。
よくわからないのですけど。
すぐわかるようになる。同僚に聞け。
He gestured towards the women pouring beers. They seemed to be my colleagues.
ルールは一つ。お前の給料の8割は俺。2割がお前だ。
え、そんなに？
それでも役者のバイトよりは高くなる。じゃあ、頑張れよ。
And with that, Zhang left. His final words had left me stunned. 80% would go to him. On the other hand, as long as I worked there, he promised he was going to help. It didn't matter if I could or couldn't do it. I had to.
哎，你就是新人呀？江先生让我照顾你。
何？中国語？
总之，先去换衣服吧。穿这身衣服可没法招待客人啊。
これに着替えろってことなの？
对对，赶快换上，客人可不会等你啊。
I changed into the clothes she gave me. They were thin and flimsy, cheap and with an extremely low neckline. When I was dressed, rather than being embarrassed, I just felt very sad and isolated.
あんた、カンナって名前だっけ？
はい。あなた日本語が話せるの？
覚えたのよ。私はアクミ。ついてきなさい。
I like how they show you her tits instead of her face. Nice job, game.
いらっしゃい。ご指名どうも、あけみです。
いや久しぶりだね。今日も色っぽいね。
まだまだ社長さんうまいんだから。
ところでそっちの子誰？すごく可愛いけど。
新人よ。ほらカンナ、ご挨拶して。
はい。カンナと言います。
そう、カンナちゃんか。可愛いね。
何するんですか？
おいおい、手握ったくらいで突き飛ばすな。
ダメよカンナ、そのくらいはご挨拶なんだから。
でも急に座られたから。
そうね。ホステスたるもの、怒っていいのはおっぱい揉まれるか、スカートの中に手を入れられた時かな。
さすが指名ナンバーワンのあけみちゃん。
はいはい、じゃあ次はフルーツ盛りお願いね。
Akemi continued to talk excitedly with a customer. When a different customer called upon her, the same thing repeated. She was always a bundle of smiles, getting the customers to drink alcohol, drinking herself, and also taking orders. Naturally, I figured, the customers were paying. I was just sitting next to her, doing nothing. I didn't know what to do or say. I only felt ashamed and hurt.
カンナ、実は私、今日でこの店辞めるのよ。
She whispered suddenly.
だから教えてあげるわ。ホステスやるなら覚えることは一つだけ。
何ですか？
何があっても笑っていること。
何があっても。
Fuck that.
そう、何があってもよ。
This sort of mentality fucks you up mentally. Hell no am I doing shit like that. If I'm not doing well, I'm not gonna smile for some utter stranger. No thank you. She looked me directly in the eyes. Her smiling, somewhat drunken expression was completely gone.
じゃあカンナ、頑張ってね。
あけみさん、ここをやめてどこに？
ソープよ、お金が必要になってね。それじゃあ。
And so, my first day of work ended. I looked at my watch. It was the dead of night, past 4 a.m. I'd only been there 6 hours starting at 10. But it had felt very long. A hostess. This was my new job. It was the job I had to do to be a good sister. I looked up at Tokyo's dark skies.
どうだった？小児の感想は？お前には気づいたろう。もうやめるか。
いえ、続けます。
わかった。せいぜい数えてくれよ。
You know, as much of a douche Jung is, I don't think I can actually hate him. I slept a little in my room and then went to the hospital. It was 8 in the morning when I arrived. I'd barely gotten any sleep, but visitation hours started at 8. Normally, I'd have also had my bench-sitting job, but I'd arranged with Jing to fill in for me in the morning.
おはよう、エミ。お姉ちゃん。ちゃんといい子にしてた？プリンも出たんだよ。
I looked at the tray. She'd eaten all of her breakfast. She'd never gone to school and eaten school lunches, I thought. Pudding was unusual to her.
それより、お姉ちゃん大丈夫？何が？だって、すごくしんどそうな顔してるよ。そう？
I hesitated. I really hadn't slept much.
ちょっと昨日、遅くまでテレビ見てて。本当に？ほら、昨日って金曜日だったから。そういえば、お姉ちゃんの好きなのやってたね。そうそう、ドラマのスペシャルだったの。
I was lying. I'd been drinking gloomily at the time.
それじゃあ、エミ。また来るから、いい子にしてるのよ。わかった。
I was so tired. In the hallway, I saw a large mirror. I looked at myself.
ひどい顔。
There were black shadows under my eyes from lack of sleep. My clothes were wrinkled and my hair was a mess. It couldn't go on like that. Emmy and Jing were going to suspect something. This is just the first day and you already look like that? Jesus Christ. I realized that this was the world outside the shell. The unfading city lights finally went out. I mean, as much as I hate her decision, it's not unrealistic, so I can't really hate her for it. It is something someone would choose in a moment of desperation. It was mid-December. It's definitely not something I would personally choose, though. Taking things into my own hands when there's like more cards I could have played. I went to sit where I always did. But then again, maybe her thought process was that she doesn't really want to bother anyone. She doesn't really want to inconvenience anyone. I understand that to some degree, but that sort of thinking is not good for you mentally. She has someone she can depend on. She has Jing, she has her family. If you can't depend on your family, like, come on, you're not alone in the world, you know? Don't take things into your own hands until it's really truly the last straw. Emmy had often visited me, but she was going to be in the hospital for another week.
おはよう。今日も寒いわね。
ああ、さくらさん。
寒くなったわね。よいしょっと。
Sakura sat down next to me on the bench.
ここんとこ、カンナ見かけないわね。
因为他是负责上午班的。
I wrote this down in a notebook for her. We'd used to switch every 2 to 3 hours, but now we switched at noon. She told me she wanted to visit Emmy in the morning. She was probably also exhausted from worrying about her. She was often tired when she came. Sometimes I had the feeling she wasn't at home at night.
どうかした？
あ、没什么。
I couldn't be sure. Maybe she was just dead tired and sleeping.
这就行了吧。
I stretched myself, having finished my studies for the day. I was still studying even after we all moved into Sakura's company offices. There were only about 3 weeks of work left. I had to find a new job soon. I thought they said 3 weeks a couple of weeks ago. Huh. It looked like I was going to have enough. I opened my passbook. I needed another 130,000 yen. With the last month's pay, it was going to be more or less the right amount. I had another 6 months until the entrance exams. Even for the Japanese entrance exams, it was going to be tight. This is what I had come to this country for. I had to consider my studies when I looked for a new job. I resented the idea of having to say goodbye to Kana and Emi so soon, though. I was worried about Emi too. She'd been such a joy to be around.
みんないろいろあんのよ。私だって、あなただってね。
I remembered what Sakura had said. We all had our troubles, I thought.
所以啊，我想重新来过。
I still had no dreams or goals. But first of all, I had to get into a university. It was dark outside. I looked at the clock. It was 9 p.m. I got up then. I'd slept like a stone. My daily rhythm had completely flipped. I assumed this is Kana. I slept 3 hours in the morning and 3 in the evening. In the morning, I visited Emi. Then, I went to sit on the bench, sleeping a little now and then. It was difficult, but I had to get used to it. I changed clothes and snuck out as quietly as possible. Jing was probably still awake and studying. Trying not to alert him, I went outside. It felt sad not to say goodbye on the way out.
いらっしゃいませ。
おう、エレナちゃん、おひさ。
いらっしゃいませ。
君は新しい子だね。なんて名前？
あ、
わかんないか。Please ね。
はい、カンナって言います。
They actually didn't know that she's Japanese.
って日本人？かわいいね。
よかったらオーダーしてもらえると。
そうそう、社長、オーダーオーダー。
わかったって。それよりカンナちゃん、何時上がり？
あかり？
仕事明け、デートしないって言ってるの。ああ、ステーキの美味しい店知ってるのよ。どう？
そんな困ります。
I was too surprised to say anything else. I didn't even think about it. But
おい、露骨に嫌な顔すんなよ。そういうノリわかんねえのか。もういい。お前ら変われ。
I'd meet the customer unhappy. Now I wasn't going to get it to drink with them.
我说你啊，能不能不捣乱？
私？
我这可是工作啊，别影响我赚钱。
Arena was complaining about something, but not in her broken Japanese. I couldn't understand her.
看在你是江先生带来的份上，我就不说你太多了。但说实在的，你要是不想认真，就别给我们添麻烦。
すみません。
They were obviously upset with me. I had to smile no matter what. She told me that the previous night. Probably, if they asked me out or something like it, I had to laugh and smile and just let the conversation move on. I wasn't that kind of person though. I wasn't sociable or elegant enough. I knew in theory what was expected of me. I knew that I had to smile, but
エレナさん、ちょっといいですか？
I worked up the courage to talk to her. There was something I wanted to learn.
怎么了？日语我只会说一点儿。
お化粧ってどうやればいいのか。
想让我教你化妆？这个简单。
It was 1988. That day, it snowed for the first time that winter. I put on makeup for the first time in my life. I also drank alcohol, even though I didn't like it. And I learned how to smile even if I didn't enjoy myself. The nights in Tokyo were bright, the stars hazy. The red flashing lights atop the skyscrapers looked smudged. I realized that this was the world outside the shell. I was thrust from my tiny, idyllic garden into reality. No bird remains a chick forever, is what I learned. I finished at 5 in the morning. It was still dark when I walked home. I wanted to go back and sleep, but most likely I would have overslept. So instead, I went to the hospital. I entered through the ambulance entrance and walked through the dark corridors. I knew they were always open. I sat down on one of the long benches in the reception hall. I had another 2 hours until visitation was allowed. I hadn't gotten any orders again. I'd only sat there, smiling awkwardly. I thought about it and ate sunflower seeds. They didn't taste all that good. Strange. I'd always liked them. Even when my parents and Emi had laughed at me for it. When the reception opened, it suddenly became busy. I woke up, having slept on the bench. I straightened my clothes and my hair in one of the mirrors in the hallway. I also put on some makeup to look healthier. I didn't want her to suspect anything.
Ohayo, Emi.
I try to seem the same as always. Wow, that's so loud. I didn't change anything, by the way. It just became loud, super loud. I guess it's to simulate that she's still drunk. I cleaned up her tray. She always finished around this time. Apparently, she had set it aside for me.
ダメよ。あなたが食べないと意味ないでしょ？それに。どうしたの？漫画の本買ってきてほしいの？そうじゃなくて。なによ。遠慮せずに言いなさいよ。ごめんなさい。お金いっぱい使わせて。
I couldn't respond immediately, but I caught myself.
もう、子供がお金のことなんて心配するもんじゃないわよ。でも、ね、こう見えてお姉ちゃん、お金持ちなのよ。知ってた？エミ、あなた春から小学校に通えるのよ。本当に？ええ。だから、早く元気にならないとね。
It was a lie, but I'd gotten better at that. Not that I'd lied before. My forced smile had also gotten better.
时间差不多了吧？
I looked at my watch. It was 3 p.m. Kana was supposed to swap with me. She'd overslept several times. Often she was late. I didn't mind all that much, but it was too quiet at night.
说是去医院探望艾米，但还是有些奇怪啊。
I was fairly sure she wasn't at home at night. Sakura was back in her own apartment and didn't seem to have noticed anything. I was increasingly sure she was going out instead.
遅くなって。
没事没事，几分钟而已。
寒くなってきたね。よいしょっと。
Kana plopped herself down on the bench. She looked a little sleepy, but otherwise unchanged.
あれ？ジン、帰らないの？
再坐一会儿我就回去。
そう。あ、そういえば、ありがとうね。
谢什么？
エミのお見舞い、言ってくれて。あの子も喜んでたわ。
She smiled at me. I was trying to visit her as much as I could as well.
そういえば、近くにステーキ屋さんできたんだって。ジン、知ってる？ステーキだよ、ステーキ。
ステーキ，我知道，牛排嘛。
すっごく美味しいらしいから、今度食べに行こうよ。
但好像很贵啊，那个。
I shook my head. I didn't have to understand her every word. I had a fair idea what she was saying.
そうだよね。ちょっと高すぎ。
Kana was in oddly, unusually bright mood. I never seen her like that before, and she seemed different. I couldn't really put my finger on it.
最近你怎么不吃瓜子了？
I said this without thinking.
何？よくわからないよ。
就葵瓜子，パリパリ。
ああ、なんかもう飽きちゃったし。
是吗？
Something was subtly off. I suddenly felt very sad.
那我先回去了。
寒いから気をつけてね。
拜拜。
I got up and started to walk away.
待って。
怎么了？
その。
Oh, sorry. Kana seemed to be struggling to say something. Eventually,
なんでもない。
他到底怎么了？
she'd been strangely upbeat, but also deeply brooding at the end. I remembered that expression though. I'd seen it at the very beginning. Back when she just started working with me. The sun slowly set. I went to the hospital. I had time, and I'd wanted to visit too. Apparently she was sleeping. I could see her dozing peacefully. I quietly sat down in a metal chair nearby. There were comics and sweets by her bedside. There was also a notebook of sorts. Kana must have been teaching her again. I still remembered seeing them study. All she wanted was to send Emmy to grade school. Kana had said, I felt the same. It was dark when I left the hospital. We were approaching the holiday season. The city was bustling. I looked at my watch. It was 8 p.m. Kana was probably home by now. I thought about making shumai again. Kana probably hadn't eaten yet. It was easy to make. I could do it in the offices. She had looked tired lately, and always went straight to her room. Perhaps some food would cheer her up. I saw her pass by at one of the corners. I barely noticed her. Kana? What was she doing there? She should have been at home. Perhaps she went out to buy something. I instinctively hit myself. My first instinct had been to call out to her, but I suppressed it. Why? She wasn't heading to the shopping district. She wasn't trying to go home or buy groceries.
这么晚了，他要去哪儿啊？
I whispered that and quietly followed her. From the station, she went into one of the long streets leading away. First, she passed expensive shops, then restaurants. The restaurants gave way to bars. Eventually, even the bars started to fade. Finally, she turned into a narrow street lined with gaudy neon signs advertising clubs. Kana briskly walked through this unseemly scenery. Alarm bells were ringing in my mind. I had to turn around and leave. It was better not to know. Kana hadn't told me, so clearly she didn't want me to know either. She wouldn't like me to find out. I knew this in my mind, but my feet kept going.
这里是之前来过的店。
I went inside. I'd been to this hostess club before. Zhang had taken me there, I remembered. Kana had just entered the very same establishment before me. I didn't need to know more.
哟，真难得啊，小冉，竟然会在这儿碰见你。
江先生，果然是你干的好事。
算是吧。走吧，我们出去说。看这样子，他是想对你们保密啊。
是你强迫他的吧？
怎么会呢？是他自己想做的，而且他还很有前途呢。
He must be lying, I thought, but I couldn't accuse him. I knew she needed money, especially with Emmy in the hospital, and her job running out.
你要不信啊，就自己进去看看吧。
I told myself that I had to leave. But
行。
はい、水割りですね。ありがとうございます。
Kana was laughing amicably. She was perched on a gaudy couch, talking excitedly with a customer. She wasn't wearing the clothes she liked so much, nor the tracksuit.
もうそんなに飲めないですよ。
いやいや、ガンナちゃんなら大丈夫でしょ。
フルーツ追加、どうもです。
She skillfully poured alcohol into their glasses, drank herself, and laughed. Her clothes were white, fluffy, very deep cut, and looked quite cheap. But she was still laughing.
喂，康娜。
いらっしゃいま。ジン、どうしてここに？
言っておくが、俺が教えたわけじゃないぞ。
Kana stood before me and said nothing. She didn't smile either. She looked away as if in pain. She was just putting on an act for the others. She had never been the type to wear skimpy clothes like this. She laughed at throwing away her high heels and sitting on a bicycle. She'd been happy at the thought of eating sunflower seeds. She was poor, awkward, and shy. And yet...
ご注文は？
Oh man, this is so sad. Man, this makes me feel like shit just reading this.
あ、水割り作りましょうか。
Man, is this story gonna have a happy ending? Oh man, this is turning into a very hard read.
それともビールですか？
Kana directed a broad smile at me. Kana, wearing cheap, frilly clothes in a gloomy bar. I could see a red lipstick when I looked at her smile.
ご注文は？
不用了。
はーい、お会計です。ありがとうございます。
I couldn't say anything. I didn't know what I could have said. When I turned around to leave, she said,
ジン、もう来ないで。
that was all. It had started to snow at some point. Slowly, the Tokyo around me grew white. The streets were largely empty just before dawn. I still felt cold as I walked. I wasn't going anywhere specific. I just needed to clear my head and think. Perhaps Kana was done by now, I thought. There was a lot I wanted to ask her. A lot to tell her too. Still, I was afraid of facing her. It seemed that whatever I said, she would just laugh now. She wouldn't be upset, sulk, or argue anymore. Perhaps there was no way to break through that unnatural smile. The thought made me intensely sad. Tina? What was she doing there? I'd only ever seen her at the old station. And with that, she was gone. The darkness appeared to have swallowed her. Had I hallucinated her? Perhaps it had been a different cat. I began to walk again. Eventually, I arrived at the usual place. The station, half collapsed, and a bench covered in a thin sheet of snow. I wiped the snow away and sat down. Where had Tina gone? I looked around. If that had been Tina, she would have come back here, I thought. I'd never seen her elsewhere. But I couldn't find her. Instead,
雪、結構降ってきたね。よいしょ。わあ、ベンチ冷た。
Kana sat down next to me. It was quite dark, but amid the falling snow, her breath was still white. I wasn't sure what to do. I could only look down at the ground. Then I pulled out my notebook, wrote and said,
今天的工作结束了吗？
仕事？あ、うん。閉店が4時だからね。
这样啊。你在那儿做多久了
？1週間くらいになるかな。
这样啊。
So she'd kept it a secret for a whole week. She'd suffered in silence with nobody to talk to for all that time.
我说，别去那种店干了。
ありがとう。心配してくれて。
不是，你真的没事吗？
平気だよ。平気、平気。
Kana laughed back at me. I could only see deception. She wasn't even sleeping enough. Visiting Emmy so often was also taking its toll. And besides, she really wasn't the type for a job like that. What was she doing snuggling up to customers with her awkward, shy personality?
要是觉得难受，就别憋着，说出来啊！
Sorry. I ended up being louder than I wanted to. It upset me that she'd kept this from me.
你也不想干那个吧？那种工作不适合你啊！
She said nothing to that. Snow fell into perfect silence. Eventually, her eyes averted, she said,
じゃあ、どうしろって言うのよ。 私だって、好きでやってんじゃないわよ。やってないなんて、してるわよ。
Kana began to cry. I wasn't entirely sure what she was saying. There was only one thing I could say.
大丈夫じゃないわよ。
I didn't press anything by the way. It actually skipped itself. Wow. I didn't press anything, I swear.
いい加減なこと言わないでよ。もう3ヶ月しかないのよ。私が我慢して済むなら、それでいいじゃないの。もう放っておいてよ。夢とか目標なんて私にはないのよ。
December 1988. It was a snowy night sometime before Christmas. A 16-year-old girl was crying in front of me. She had quit high school, come to Tokyo, wishing she could wear cute clothes, trying to be a good sister. And now she was crying over suppressing her true feelings. Tokyo. The unfading city lights finally went out. Just before dawn. Is this actually the end? But I'd found something I hadn't had before and knew it now. I wasn't in love, I believed. Who knows? Is this gonna be a happy ending? I don't know. A few days later, it was December 18th. Amy was being released from the hospital. Kana and I went there together.
どうも、お世話になりました。お世話になりました。じゃあ、行くわよ、エミ。
We walked merrily, hand in hand. Kana smiled softly at her sister. Her smile looked completely sincere. Still, being released was not the same as being cured. They'd already scheduled another hospital stay in January. This time, she would receive her surgery. Emi would be healthy again. In spring, she would be able to go to grade school. In return, Kana had promised to work for Jung for 4 years. Emi didn't know, of course. Neither did Sakura. Kana's parents most likely didn't know either. Kana was trying to do it all alone. There was nothing I could say or do.
なんかすごいね。そっか。もうすぐクリスマス。もう1年が経ったんだね。
They laughed as they walked. Anyone who saw them would conclude that they were very close sisters, who were looking forward to Christmas. I remembered Sakura.
みんないろいろあんのよ。私だって、あなただってね。
She'd been right.
見て、雪も降ってきたよ。
A few stray snowflakes descended in the sunset. Everything was orange. The buildings, the people, the crystal flakes.
綺麗だね。私、この景色、ずっと忘れないと思う。
She whispered at this idyllic sky. Amy seemed a little sad, looking not really at the sky itself, but rather something that couldn't really be seen in the first place. I mean, Emmy's a smart kid. She definitely knows something's up.
"小然，快去学习，要有目标，有梦想，到时候再来庆祝你的生日。"
My father's last words to me. Perhaps he'd wanted me to finish what he could not. Perhaps his feelings of guilt towards my dead mother had overcome him.
到底是为了什么呢？
I looked at my study notebook inside. In my right hand, I had the pen my father had given me. In my left hand was my passbook, filled to its intended value. Did I want to get into a good university? Did I want to erase my failures? Or did I want to dispel my father's bad luck?
那样做了，就能成为出色的成年人了吗？
He told me to have dreams and goals. That's why I'd come to Japan. Tokyo, Emmy, birthdays, Sakura, the sunflower seeds. You know, the sunflower seeds reminded me of Natsumi. You know, well, not sunflower seeds themselves, but the sunflower. Sorry, just had to get that out there. Perhaps I've been looking for something important to me. Perhaps I'd already found it and just pretended not to notice.
今天也够冷的。
December 21st. I was sitting alone on the bench. It wasn't necessary to sit there so late. I wasn't meeting her there either. I just felt like being there.
ただいま。今日も冷えるね。
你来了。
She sat down.
このバイトももうすぐ終わりだね。
是啊，这一年说长不长，说短也不短。
When we met, the only thing both of us were thinking about was how to get rid of the other. We'd sat and talked so often on that bench. She'd been happy about her cute new clothes in spring. We'd opened our cafe in the spring as well. Someone had broken in and stolen our safe that fall. In the winter, they tore down parts of the building, and we had to live with Sakura. A lot had happened in a year, but I didn't want to talk about the time before.
对了，康纳，给你这个。
あ、ひまわりの種だ。ありがとう。
知道你喜欢。
ポリポリポリポリ。
Kana ate with visible happiness. She was very quick at opening the seeds and seemed proud of it.
然后这个也给你。
これって。
当然，我知道这肯定不够。
でも、お金なんて受け取れないよ。
但这些可不只是钱。
People can change. Kana probably didn't notice, but I'd found something I hadn't had before and knew it now. Emmy's surgery was more expensive than 100,000 or 200,000 yen. I could barely help with that. Even my entire passbook wasn't enough. Kana still had to work a whole 4 years to pay it off. So,
也让我陪你一起。所以说，去上高中吧。
高校に？
给你了。
2 years of my life. If she had to work for 4 years, we could split it and both work too. Those 4 years would have gotten eaten up by university anyway. I didn't need that time anymore. If I worked there too, we could cut it in half. That was enough.
ねえ、一つだけ教えて。
什么问题啊？
Sorry.
どうしてそこまでしてくれるの？
为什么？我也不知道。这大概不是能够被称之为爱情的感情。
Was it pity? Empathy? Was I doing it for Emmy? For Kana? For myself? Was it out of the hope that even someone like me, who didn't find what was important to them yet, maybe I could still find that spark? You might laugh at us, this awkward pairing, or think we're making a mistake.
但我想，这就是在这个时代、这个地方，我们之间的一种缘分吧。
We had nowhere to go in particular, but we all had to go forward. Happy birthday.
雪が降ってきたね。
The area in front of the station was bustling. The roadside trees were lit up in electric red and green. Another Christmas Eve was coming to an end. Showa Exil Harajuku Building Project.
なんか寒いと思った
It's
ら
too fast for me to read,
通り
sorry.
で。
It was the last day of work. We'd all gathered in the usual place.
それよりちょっと狭いんですけど。
喂，别挤我呀，都要被挤下去了。
I still don't know what you're saying, Jing. Sorry. I know Si-Huan is like though now. I mean, I should have known that because it's a pretty common word in Chinese, but you know, it's been forever since I actually know Chinese or even hear Chinese. We were all sitting on the bench. For 4 people, it really was a little too small. Everyone was there, even Emmy, just out of the hospital. Sakura and Tina too. There was no more reason for us to sit there. It seemed like the end of an era. Kana had ended up quitting her job. She was going to enroll in high school again too. Instead, she had to spend 2 years making shumai. With me, that is. Perhaps Zhang had grown a heart after all. Perhaps he was figuring the two of us could make more money together.
すみません。そろそろ工事始めたいんですけど。
わかってるわよ。もう少しくらい待ちなさい。
Sakura glared at the impatient construction workers. The job we'd done for a year was finally ending.
じゃあ、そろそろ行きますか。
走吧。
It wasn't the end. It was another beginning. We had nowhere to go in particular, but we all had to go forward.
こういう時、何か言う言葉あるんじゃないのかな。
Merry Christmas?
メリクリ？まあ、ベタだけど、それも悪くないわね。
じゃあ、カウントダウンする？今、1分前だけど。
ええ、10秒前からで。
メリークリスマス！まだ早いって。
10、9、8、7。
Snow began to fall. Tokyo quietly turned white in time for Christmas. The people rushing past, the wet asphalt, the roadside trees, the cars in their traffic jams, all of it turned white. Christmas Eve was coming to an end, and the snow fell as if in commemoration.
6、5、4。
ねえ、ジン。
怎么了？
3、少し練習してみたのよ。あまりうまく言えないかもだけど。
メリークリスマス！
先日快乐。
'Cause nothing ever stays the same.
Mm,
'Cause no one is to blame.
it ended a lot nicer than I thought it would. I actually expected quite the harsh reality ending.
We'll go as far as we can
I don't know what to say. I feel like I like the story.
go until our lives were smelted.
There weren't really parts I'd say were problematic. It's not the type of story where, you know, it's all full intense moments though. This is like those stories where you just chill, you read, you like the characters, you get to know them. And I enjoy it as long as it's not too much fluff, and I think this has, you know, a good balance of fluff and then the story going forward. I do like how it ended though. I mean, I sort of expected that Jing was gonna give her the money, but I didn't know what he was gonna do after that. Splitting the work was actually pretty nice. And I guess I really like him trying to rationalize what he's trying to do, and says that it's not for love, because we know, we were in his perspective throughout the whole year, and it doesn't seem like he had any love, romantic interest in Kana. It was, I don't know, it was just a friend relationship, right? I really like that. And what he did was not easy, man. Actually giving up his supposed dreams and goals for something else. I can also say, I guess, what Kana did was also not easy. But I really dislike the fact that what she did was she had to sacrifice herself for someone else. I really think that's not a good mindset to have, personally. But like I said, I understand why she chose what she chose. I think it ended pretty nicely. if I do have some gripe, I guess it's that stupid thief that stole the money from what they did from making the cafe. Man, I wish that guy burned in hell. Other than that, though, I think I enjoyed it quite a lot. I don't know, I don't really see a lot of faults in this story. The characters are nice. The voice actors are really nice, especially Yukana, damn you. Jing is pretty likable.
通じた。
ありがと
I don't know what's Sujito. Ni hao? What? I was trying to read whatever it tried to say there. Come on. But I guess that's it. It's 2 hours, so I think I might actually cut this into 2 parts. 1 part each. There was that audio glitch anyway that I had to edit out, I think. So it's gonna be like a 1 hour each episode, like I said. But yeah, I enjoy this. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. I actually appreciate these sort of stories more than the more hype stories. I feel like it's a lot more nice. I don't know, I like a lukewarm story like this. It's not for everyone, of course. But I do feel like it's one of my favorites. Technically speaking, I guess Shari no Kuni was similar in a way, but it's a lot more dramatic and has a lot more anime moments. Well, this one is more just slice of life, like pure slice of life. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. I still don't know what's gonna be the next visual novel we're gonna be playing. We'll see, we'll see. I do have a couple of things up my sleeve, or a couple of visual novels on my backlog. But yeah, this was super enjoyable for what it was. I was eyeing this visual novel for a long time. And when it came out, I was really excited for it. But yeah, this is another book close, another page close, whatever you call it. And hope we can read a good story next time again, too. I'd probably rate this a 9 out of 10. It's pretty nice. See ya. Probably Friday. I think this is gonna be a Wednesday episode. But like I said, hope you guys enjoyed it too. I'll see you guys next time.